We asked for your hot takes, and they came in extra hot. So Johnny and I are going to tell you if we're buying or selling the things that are your hot takes. It's time to get locked on with Mike and John, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SiriusXM by searching Locked On Angels. And if you want to give back to the Super Halo Bros for all the Angel content, here's some things that you can do. Leave us a rate and a review like Dave Diller from Chicago did on Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate that. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe to become a Locked On Everydayer. And whether you're watching or listening, come on over to YouTube, leave a comment. It's one of the best ways to get in touch with us and be a part of the conversation.
Thanks for being here for this episode of Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. You've got the Frisch Brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Whew, Mike, it's the end of the year when your voice is getting tired and you got a cough. So apologies to our Locked On Everydayers. I'm hanging in there and a little under the weather. So
too much karaoke for you, huh?
Yeah, no kidding, right? Hey, on today's show, we asked for your hot takes, and you sent them in, and there's some good ones here, Mike.
There are some good ones.
What we're going to do is kind of rapid fire through these for each segment, and we want to know what you think. So if you're listening on the audio side, or you're watching us on TV, or you're watching us on YouTube, come on over to the YouTube episode, comment below the video. Number one, it helps us out a whole bunch, and while you're here, hit that thumbs up button. But number two, get into the comments. We'd love to hear what you have to say about these Halo hot takes. And Mike, we actually got a lot of hot takes about the young players on this team, the young core that's developing right in front of us. So why don't you get us started with the first one?
Yeah, Jay Boogs on Twitter said, hot take, Nolan Schanuel leads the team in batting average. Johnny, you going to buy or sell that one?
I'm buying that one, actually. I think that would be an easy one for Nolan Schanuel to attain because he takes so many walks, he gets on base. I'm buying it. What about you?
I'm going to buy it too, and I think that he's going to be somebody that's going to be a pain in the tuchus at the top of that lineup, especially if they stay healthy. And finally having somebody on base in front of Mike Trout, what a concept, right? Like that would be spectacular. He won't hit 40 home runs and knock in 50 RBIs. He'll have at least more than that, right?
No kidding. Yeah. Remember we did a breakdown of that a couple of, I want to say it was last offseason.
Yep.
Just how many RBIs he didn't have despite the 40 home runs that he received in 2022. Hey, Jay Cano 89 on Twitter said Nolan Schanuel breaks Alvin Davis's 47-game on base streak to start a career. What do you think, Mike?
Oh, I'm buying that. I mean, the guy finds a way to get on base, and like you said, he walks a lot. He gets a lot of hits. He's just a guy that attracts the ball, and then he's able to track the ball and get really great hits. So I'm going to buy that one. What about you?
Yeah, what's he on? 29 to start? I think he was in 29 games.
Yeah,
29 on base, all 29 games. So 47. So he's got about 18 more games. That's doable. That's doable.
I think it's very doable.
Let's buy, baby. Let's buy.
Especially at the start of the season, Johnny, because the start of the season, like everybody's kind of getting used to it, and he's already somebody that when he showed up, he just showed up and he was ready to hit. So I'm buying that one.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
How about Izzy on Twitter, John? We're going to talk about Nolan Schanuel again. He is the rookie of the year. What do you think?
Oh, man. I would say yes, but this is a league, an American league, that has Evan Carter in it of the Texas Rangers.
Right.
And so while I would love for Schanuel to reach rookie of the year, I don't think that he can outdo what Evan Carter has done and is already doing. I think Evan Carter is going to be a huge part of the Rangers. Man, they had scooped him up when nobody was scouting him, Mike, and he certainly paid off for the Rangers. So he still qualifies as a rookie for 2024. I think Evan Carter's going to get it. What are your thoughts?
I'm selling it because I don't want any of the Angels to win any awards. I want them to get to the playoffs. I'm tired of winning awards and not getting to the playoffs. So I'm selling it, even though I think he's going to be fantastic. I love the hot take, but I'm selling it because no awards, just playoffs, baby.
Cal Collect on Twitter said Joe Adell and Logan O'Hoppe will get MVP votes. What do you think?
That's a hot take. I'm going to say yes on O'Hoppe and no on Joe Adell. What are you going to say?
You're not going to buy the whole enchilada here?
Not going to buy it. Nope.
I'm buying. I'm going to buy
Are you
it.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
One vote. That's all he needs. One vote for Joe Adell.
One vote. Okay.
That's all he needs.
That's true.
And it qualifies. So I think Logan
there are some ridiculous people on that voting board, right?
Yeah. Well, listen, Logan O'Hoppe, I think, actually has a case to get some MVP votes.
For
Maybe
sure.
not get the MVP, but be, within the top 10 or something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool. And I think it's going to have a lot to do with his bat and his power.
Yeah.
He's going to deliver on the home runs. Like our Locked On Everydayer has been saying in the YouTube comments. How about the next one, Mike?
Phenomenal Loser. I love that name on Twitter. And by the way, shout out to them. They have George Costanzo with a baseball bat as the profile pic.
That's the one where he's showing Jeter how to swing a bat.
We won the World Series in six
games.
His hot take is Reed Detmers has an ace caliber year next year. Johnny, I'm going to buy this one because I've been on the Reed Detmers train since the beginning, and I think that Barry Enright is going to help him figure some things out. In fact, I think this whole pitching staff is going to figure some things out this year, and I think one of the biggest benefactors of Barry Enright being on this team and Ron Washington being the manager will be Reed Detmers. I think he will show that he is an ace caliber type of pitcher next season. What do you think?
Ace caliber. Does that mean he's like in the realm of an ace, or he is an ace? Because
don't overthink it. Just give me a buy or sell.
I'm going to sell. I think he takes a step forward. I don't think it's going to be ace caliber.
Okay.
Because to me, that's a sub-3 ERA. That's, almost 200 innings.
Yeah.
I think Reed Detmers has a lot to climb toward.
Sure.
And so I think he will take a step forward. Just don't think he'll be there quite yet. I love this name too, Mike. 80 pitches through 2 2/3 innings pitched on Twitter. Said Neto hits 20 jacks and plays Gold Glove defense. So it's a two-parter, Mike. What do you say?
I think that's an easy buy because Neto showed a little bit of pop in his bat, and 20 home runs over a full healthy season, I think is definitely doable. And his Gold Glove, I think the guy is incredible. And even if he has a few errors to his credit, I think because he makes the spectacular play, it's going to catch the attention of those that vote, and they're going to say, yeah, give him a Gold Glove. What do you think?
To me, I could buy this because in about half of a season's worth of games, Neto hit 9 home runs. And so I think the projection was over this past season, had he played a full 162, he would have been at about 17. And so I think if he gets hot, which he didn't really have a chance to get hot because kind of right when he was getting his momentum started, he would get hurt and not be able to play. But I think 20 jacks, especially if it's like, if he gets to play all of June and July or something like that, when the weather's hot and the Angels are firing on all cylinders, I think he'll have a good streak there of home runs. The Gold Glove defense, I don't think he gets the Gold Glove, and all Angel fans are going to go, why the heck didn't he not get the Gold Glove? Like we always do, like we've done with like David Fletcher and those guys for the last couple of years. It's just these guys get robbed all the time. So yeah, I'm going to sell on the Gold Glove, but I do think he could hit 20 jacks. I think that's pretty good.
Johnny, you said something that just got me really excited. June and July, Neto's playing really, really well, and the Angels are firing on all cylinders. Could that happen this year? Could that please happen this year? I want to see the team do really, really well when they haven't necessarily done really, really well. So June and July needs to be really important months, and August too, right? And August
you know what we need is one of those months or one of those Aprils where we're all panicking because of how badly a start they get off to, which is what they always did in the good years. So it was always like they always get off to bad starts in April and they turn it on the rest of the way. Maybe we need one of those. Maybe we don't want to come out of the gate real hot in 2024. That's not a good idea. Your boy Weeb World, O'Hoppe will get a silver slugger. Mike, you buying or selling?
I'm buying that. I think that O'Hoppe has a lot of power and a lot of pop, and I think that he could be somebody that if he plays a full season, and that's the big question for everybody, right? I think he could be in the running for the silver slugger because the dude mashes. The dude is incredible. And so, yes, I'm going to buy that one. What about you?
I'll buy it if he gets the opportunity to DH. And what I mean by that is you see somebody like Adley Rutschman, right? Who was obviously playing catcher, but also DHing a lot. And I know this applies specifically to position players, but it's only going to help O'Hoppe's case to, get in the game every single day and bat one way or another. I like that.
Yeah. Adley played over 150 games too,
yes,
right?
He did.
And that was so good
because of the DH, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Because of the DH. He's off of his legs and his knees, and I love that. And so if we don't get Ohtani back, I think there's another benefit with O'Hoppe being the DH. John Riles on Twitter said, it's time to move on from Ward and Rengifo. I am going to buy this because I think that you could get a really great pitcher, maybe throw in one other person, but I think you could get a really great pitcher. And we've said it over and over and over again on this pod. it's because of the years of control that make these guys uber attractive for teams. And so, gosh, are they in the running for a trade for Tyler Glass now? Are they in the running for a trade for somebody else? I think that it would be a good move if we can get a good arm, because we have outfielders. This means Joe Adell is for sure starting in 2024 in the major leagues.
Yeah, I buy that one too. And not in the sense that it's like, oh, we got to move on from these guys because they're dragging us down. I don't believe that.
Yes.
I believe the way that you see it, Mike. And that's if there's a deal to be made for Taylor Ward or Luis Rengifo or both, I think the Angels should go for it. How about the raddest Lance, the raddest of all the Lances on Instagram? He said Joe Adell is better than Taylor Ward. What do you say, Mike?
Ooh, I'm going to buy that because I think that Joe Adell has a lot to prove, and I think that he gets a shot this year to prove it. And when he does prove it, we're going to be very, very impressed. I think he's going to be somebody that a really good year would be maybe a 270, 280 batting average. I think he could get 30 to 40 home runs, and I think he can knock in 100 RBIs. Think Jose Guillen. I think that he kind of has Jose Guillen vibes, opposite of Vlad Guerrero back in the early or late 2000s. And so I'm going to say yes. I'm buying that one. What are you saying?
I think it'll end up being a yes. I'm going to buy that because this will be the first year. Hopefully, we see Joe Adell get a full amount of playing time, because it's just been so back and forth with him the last couple of years. And you and I have been on the train of give that guy a full year in the minor leagues, let him get his confidence back. And when he came up at the end of the season, I saw a very confident Joe Adell. So I think the coaching and instruction around him will only make him a better hitter. But I think the biggest bugaboo for Adell has been the confidence, Mike.
Right.
Our Ramirez 5678 on Instagram said Halos excel with a 5-man rotation. What do you say?
I'm going to buy this, and I'm going to quote our nephew from Thanksgiving, and I'm not responsible for if you get upset with this quote, but he said, I hope Shohei doesn't come back because we have to do a 6-man rotation. We have to adjust to him. and
he said it just like that, too.
He did say it just like that. And so I think that the Angels will benefit from a 5-man rotation with maybe a day off and having somebody like a Davis Daniel or a Kenny Rosenberg filling in. But I think that you'll see more consistency from them and a regular routine. And as Davis Daniel pointed out on this pod, he said that regular routine is so important. Knowing that you're going to be starting on these days helps you to get prepared.
Yeah. And I also believe that if these guys are going to, get to the innings limits that they should be getting to, 180 to 200, they have to do it in a 5-man rotation. There's no way around that. I mean, you just can't get to, like that earlier one, ace caliber level stuff if you're not getting to 180 to 200 innings. So I think that's the step in the direction that the Angels do. I think that I buy that. I think they'll do fairly well with a 5-man rotation, and they can still do that because Shohei's not going to pitch next year. So there you go. Hey, we appreciate you making Locked On Angels your first listen every single day. We're just getting started here on Locked On Angels, and coming up, we got more of your hot takes, including how many wins are the Angels going to have in 2024? We're going to talk about that one coming right up.
Locked On Angels is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. Say it with me. That's $150 if your team wins. And if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, right now is the best time to do that. Get in on all of the NFL action. This app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. And FanDuel will help you in games that maybe you've bet on and then got really nervous, like that Eagles game when they looked like they were going to lose to the Bills, and then their kicker kicks it like a 60-yard field goal. Now they're 10-1, right? And so our Niners are playing them this weekend. And so I'm going to bet on our Niners, Johnny, because you got to go with that front line. They're strong. They're powerful. A couple of Ohio State Buckeyes on each side. FanDuel is going to help me win. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon right now. Get involved on all of the NFL action, and FanDuel, remember, is the official betting partner of the NFL.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day, where it's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And Locked On Everydayers, don't forget that Locked On has launched the first ever 24/7 streaming sports channel on YouTube. You got to go to the Locked On Sports Today YouTube channel and subscribe. And if you click that live tab, you'll be able to find 24/7 coverage of all the biggest stories of the day in sports across the sports world with the local experts of Locked On, plus all of their national shows as well. So head on over to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and be part of the first ever 24/7 sports streaming channel.
Everydayers, thanks for being here on Locked On Angels, and thanks for sharing your hot takes. Here's another Johnny from Twitter. Tweedleduh13 said, the Angels sneak into the playoffs and get hot while the Dodgers get blindsided in the first round again. Not sure where a certain DH fits into that picture. Johnny,
that's funny.
I'm going to buy that because I want to see what the narrative is. Let's say Shohei signs with the Dodgers, and I love Shohei Ohtani, right? But I want to see what the narrative would be if the Dodgers don't get past the first round and what they say about having Shohei on their team and not making it really far. Are they wasting him? Oh, they made the playoffs, so they're not wasting. I would love to see what that narrative is. Meanwhile, just down the 5, the Angels are in the playoffs and looking pretty good. Even though they snuck in, they still got in. I love that. So I'm going to buy it.
I think I'm going to buy it too. And it's no disrespect to Shohei Ohtani.
Right.
But the minute we get to fire off Tungsten Armo Doyle tweets at Dodger fans, oh, it's just going to be a glorious time.
Minute you get to do that, you're looking forward to that. Johnny doesn't need a Christmas present. That's his Christmas present.
That's my Christmas
present,
year,
right, Johnny?
EJ Cole21 on Twitter said, we sign Ohtani, Yamamoto, and make the playoffs.
Oh, man, I want to buy that one, but I don't know if we sign both of those guys. But I want to buy it, but I'm going to sell it because I'm trying to be logical here. When have I ever been logical? Let me buy it, Johnny.
Yeah.
Let me buy it. I want those guys.
Well, look, I buy it just on the fact that if they get Ohtani and Yamamoto, I think they make the playoffs, Mike. I think
for sure.
You really do a lot of damage to this market and other teams and the way that they're trying to get guys on their team right now. I think if you take Ohtani and Yamamoto off the market, you immediately, everyone's like, oh, great, now what do we do? And so that would be a huge get. So I'll buy it just on the sense that if that happens, then I think that actually makes sense. They make the playoffs with those two.
Okay, so we talk about Ohtani and Yamamoto. Let's add some extra names to that, Johnny. Mr. Watts on Twitter said Angels sign Ohtani, Yamamoto, Imanaga, Hader, Candelario, Bellinger, and run down the West. Are you buying or selling?
If they got all those players, that would be the best offseason of my life. I think.
Yeah.
I know that there's Cologne and Vladdy Daddy that offseason, but come on, man. If that's what the Angels did, that would be, this is a hot take, Mike. This is certainly a hot one.
I love it.
I'll buy it on the sense that, yes, if that's what they ended up doing, then yes, they would totally run the West.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just wake me up when this actually happens, right?
I'm going to buy it just because if it doesn't work out, they could always waive the players, right? They could just.
Can I tell you? Wait.
Go ahead.
Can I tell you, how we talk too much baseball, or how you talk too much baseball is when you have a dream that the Orioles were offering Adley Rutschman to the Angels in a trade. I actually legit had a dream where I was looking at this on Twitter, and I woke up from that dream and I was like, I gotta stop. I gotta take a break.
There's a show. That's a show.
There's a show. That's a show. All right. Yeah. Jason Presley, 19 on Twitter said, Angels need to take 1 year to retool. Yamamoto should be the only big free agent they pursue. Otherwise, they just get 1 year bounce backs. Let the young kids play so that they can be at their peak level in 2025 and go big next free agency. And actually, Mike, it's funny. I tweeted back at Jason and I said, Jason, you get me, because this is exactly the kind of thing that I have been wanting from the Angels, and that's build for the long term by locking up somebody like Yamamoto and figuring out what you have in the short term, and kind of plan on hey, we'll be good in 2025 for sure. But if you accidentally get good in 2024, you can't complain about that. So Jason says the Angels need a year to retool. I'm buying that. What do you say?
Yeah, I'm going to buy it because it's not a hot take. It's a logical, thoughtful, strategic take. And we often don't have those with this Angel organization. And I think he's 100% right. And again, I've said this before. That's why I gave you an A on your GM episode, because it was a strategy. There was a thought behind it. There was a plan. And the Angels really haven't had that. And, we talked yesterday about Perry being aggressive. That's really not a plan. It's just a adjective, right? So that's the thing I like about this take.
Good job.
Why I'm going to buy it.
You got the right part of speech. Good job there.
I'm a smart guy over here. How about Perry is my GM on Twitter? Shohei leaves. Angels sneak into the playoffs with all pressure gone. thus creating the most Angels scenario ever. John, you buy or sell?
Buy. I need a buy button.
Yep, I'm going to buy it too.
Yeah,
I'm going to buy it too. I love that.
The most Angel scenario ever is getting to the playoffs the year after you couldn't do it for 6 years with Shohei Ohtani because you didn't do anything for those.
And they're going to get in because Louis Rengifo hits the Scott Spezio version of the home run, right? It's going to be that, and we're going to go, all right.
Angels fan 1522 on Twitter said the Angels end up a top 10 defense. What do you say, Mike?
I'm going to buy it just because Ron Washington's around, and that guy knows what he's doing, and I think he's going to help Ryan Goings be a really good infield coach for them, so I'm going to buy it.
Death by Buttercup on Twitter. Angels will finish with a worse record than 2023 without Ohtani. The overall depth will improve, but they will not be able to overcome roster flaws. We'll move on from all veterans not named Trout and Rendon by the trade deadline. What do you say?
I'm gonna sell that. I don't think that they're gonna end up with a worse record. I think they actually, because of the coaching staff, I think that they're going to at least finish 500. So I'm gonna sell it.
Fantasy Football Burner on Twitter said Angels mostly stick with their current roster, add only one starting pitcher on a 1-year deal, finish 2024 with their first ever 100-loss record in franchise history. What do you say?
John, is that miserable Mark hiding his fantasy football burner?
No, Mark is loud and proud with his miserableness. Yeah,
he is. Yeah, he loves to share that. I'm going to sell this one. What about this one, Johnny? AJ Rod 34 on Instagram said, Ohtani leaves and we sign Juan Soto next year.
Ooh, man, that would be a huge get for the Angels because, number one, it's Soto is not going to be age 30 when he's a free agent because he got started so early. So he's in his mid-20s right now. I'm going to buy that, Mike. I think if they don't get Ohtani back, they're going to need to replace that bat. Yeah. And maybe they don't do it this year, but I could see them being in on Soto next year for sure. Yeah. All right. How about this one, Mike? Angelman 210 on Twitter. 92 wins in 2024.
Okay. So we were on pace for like 88 wins before everything fell apart. And so I'm thinking like with a full season of Trout and having some of these extra pieces that are now there, like a full season of Zach Neto and Ohapi, I'm going to say, I'm going to buy that because I think that they could push that if these guys stay healthy and perform at a level that we know that they can. So I'm buying. I'm in.
I'll buy it right on the 92 line. That's where I'm going to buy.
Okay.
Is that they'll hit exactly 92. I like that. So that's a good take there. You mentioned Trout, and we'll get into a hot take about Trout here in just a minute.
John, these names are incredible as they share hot takes. This is probably my favorite one.
The most
Artie's
creative.
Vocal Minority 80 on Twitter.
Yeah.
Said Wash rallies the team just enough to finish the season over 500. John, I think I'm going to buy this. Not because I think they're going to finish the season just over 500, but I do think that Wash has his own WAR, has his own wins above replacement. And he, just by being there, I think we're going to get at least 3 or 4 wins because he's not going to make bonehead moves like Phil Nevin did. And I think we're not going to have many episodes, if at all, where we're going to go, Wash, what were you thinking? I don't think we're going to have that. So I think that Wash rallies this team. I think they finish more of a 500, but I like this hot take. I'm going to buy it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I buy this too. And not that they won't do better than 500, but I think that Wash will get them to at least slightly better than 500 for sure. Yeah. One of our favorite Locked On Everydayers, Mike, Stephanie Battaglino, she said, you can take that to the bank and deposit it. Will be trending on the internet before Memorial Day. What do you say?
I want to buy it because I want that to happen. I would love to see that happen. And I think Ron Washington deserves for that to happen. So absolutely. Let's buy it, Johnny.
I love it. Hey, Nick Vlahakis on Twitter said, Ron Washington wins Manager of the Year after leading the Angels to the postseason in his first year. I'm going to let you answer that one first, Mike. What do you say?
Okay. I think that he will. Yes, I'm going to buy that one. Yes,
I'm going to buy that one too.
It.
I think
let me take it.
He'll easily get Manager of the Year considering the history of the Angels the last few years. So how about the second one from Nick?
Sell.
This is funny. Rendon will stay healthy the whole season. And then in parentheses, he said, could barely type that without laughing. Yeah. I think I'm going to sell on that one as well. Just because, there's going to be an IL stint and hopefully it's like well, he's got some soreness. Hopefully that's the extent, not that his head fell off like it always is, right?
Well, I just hope that the communication is a whole lot better than it has been. And I think this, with the new coaching staff, perhaps it is. We'll know exactly what's going on. Oh, it's a fractured fibula. Okay, I feel a little bit bad now. I feel bad, right? DKN36 on Instagram said Ron Washington signs an extension by the end of the year. What do you think, Johnny?
Bye, baby. Oh, I love that one. Bye. I think that they're going to be so happy with what happens, and Ron's going to figure out that, yeah, you know what? I do want to go beyond 2 years. So I think I buy that for sure. What about you?
I'm going to buy it as well. Lucas Arias on Twitter says Drury receives MVP votes. Rendon and Trout stay healthy. Notice that it's not specific. Like if they don't miss games, they just say stay healthy. So are you going to buy or sell that one?
What's healthy to you? 130 games?
Gosh, if they both can get 130 games, I'd be excited about that.
I could see Trout getting maybe 145. Rendon, if Rendon gets to 130, then we need to be praising God, because it's the only way that this guy is going to stay on the field. So, yeah, Drury receiving MVP votes. That's a good question. I mean, I don't think I'm going to buy that part.
Okay.
I don't think he'll get MVP votes. I think he'll have a great season, but I don't think that he's going to get MVP votes. Mike Drew on Twitter, kind of the opposite direction.
Right.
Rendon lasts 2 weeks before getting injured.
I'm going to sell it. I think that he has a new manager.
Goes 3 weeks?
Goes 2.5 weeks. I think that there's something about this new culture that Wash is bringing in that will be beneficial for Rendon. Not that it keeps him from getting injured, but I do think that Rendon comes out fired up and ready to prove something. Call me a delusional fan, but I think he has something to prove, and I think he's going to try to prove it this year.
I like that. Lost Angel of Anaheim on Twitter said Mike Trout will play more than 140 games. I like that. Win MVP and lead the Angels to their first postseason in 9 years. Mike, I got to say I buy that, because if Trout is playing at least 140 games, then he's always in the MVP conversation.
Sure.
And I think if Mike Trout is leading this young core of players with an MVP season, I think they get to the postseason. And the reason I say Mike Trout will play more than 140 games, what else does he have left to break?
Right.
What else is there for him to hurt? He's figured out the back issues. He's figured out the calf stretching issues. He can't break his hammy bones anymore. Like what else is there left for him to break? But what do you say about Trout?
I'm going to buy, sell, buy. I'm going to buy the 140. I'm going to sell the MVP, and I'm going to buy the Angels make the playoffs. The reason why I'm selling the MVP is because I think Trouty's batting average is going to hurt him. Last year, I think, is what we're going to probably get with Trout the next few years, is maybe a 260, 270 batter, still a high on base percentage, but I don't think that we're going to see the high 280s, 290s, or even 300s anymore.
You know what he needs to do?
He
needs to do what Cody Bellinger did and change his 2-strike approach. And this is another conversation for another time. Everybody's freaking out about Bellinger's hard hit percentage being down, and it's because when there's 2 strikes on him, he's not swinging for the fences anymore.
Right.
He's just
trying to make contact.
Poke, hit, and that's why his average went up. Yeah, that's why his hard hit percentage went down. I think Trout needs to do the same thing. Like, don't swing for the fences. Don't swing through that high and in fastball. Just fight it off and get a dinky-doo base hit each time. And I think that's going to help Trout
Johnny,
a whole bunch.
This one you need to answer because it's your fault that Tyler Anderson's here. But Aaron Heldman on Twitter said Tyler Anderson has a 2.6 to 2.8 ERA this season. You buying or selling?
That's certainly a hot take, but I'm selling that one for sure. Give me a sub-4 ERA.
Sure.
I will take that any day of the week, right? A sub-4 ERA from Tyler Anderson means that he had a much better year than he did last year. Mike Ethan on Twitter said David Fletcher will lead the team in hits next year. You buying or selling?
I love that hot take. I think it's wrong, and I'm not buying it, but I love that hot take. What do you think?
I don't think he's going to have enough playing time on the team next year, unless they do something like trade Rengifo. Then we'll see David Fletcher or somebody off the bench. But leading the team in hits, it's a hot take. Yeah, but it's a take I'm going to sell. Yeah,
Johnny, this last one I've been waiting to answer this one. Kevin _ 1055 on Instagram said Artie is overhated. I got scolded maybe like a week or two ago by a Locked On Everydayer on the YouTube comments that said. Quoted me, and I think Artie wants to win. And they said, that's what manipulators do. They get you to believe. and I learned my lesson. I don't remember who it was, but thank you for helping me see the light. I'm coming forward. I'm trusting in Jesus. And I am not going to agree with this. I think that I'm going to sell because I do think that we need to see some performance from Artie, not just words. We need to see performance. And then at the end of the year, I can re-answer this question and maybe buy it. But right now I'm selling it. What are you doing?
I think that it's a little bit of both. I think there's some buying and selling. And the reason I say that is because there are certainly things to be upset about over Artie Moreno. And that is, not hitting the luxury tax, not spending where they have the ability to, making interference and all of that stuff, right? That's one side of the equation that as baseball fans, I think we get really upset about, and rightfully so. But then, Mike, there's a whole other side of the equation where it's like the shady dealings with the mayor of Anaheim and the stadium situation and, the treatment of minor leaguers, the outright neglect of any player development in the minor league system. That's why we're here.
Right.
And so there are two parts to that. Yes, I think he can be overhated in the baseball operations realm, but on the business side of things and the shady dealings and all that stuff, which we've covered at length on this show.
Right.
I think that there's a lot of justification for just going like, oh, I don't like this guy. Like, I don't like the way he does stuff. And I'm sure a lot of it's not even him. I'm sure it's, John Carpino and all of that as well. So to me, the Artie is overhated. I can see where Kevin is coming from, but I also see the other side of that as well.
Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day and for creating content for us today. We really appreciate that. Everydayers Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On. And we also have these national shows that are covering every league. It's super fun. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel.
Hey, give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On Angels and on Twitter and Instagram at Super Halo Bros. Also, again, if you're watching or listening on TV or on the audio side, come on over to YouTube, find today's show, comment below the video. What do you think of some of the hot takes? And if you have more hot takes, put them in the comments on YouTube. We'd love to hear from you. Mike, what do we have on deck for tomorrow's show?
Well, the hot stove is lukewarm. Maybe not even lukewarm, right? It's not even there.
It's like a match.
There's this lefty that the Angels picked up, and everybody's wondering, like, is he Aaron Loop? Or is he like a hidden gem? So we're going to tease it out tomorrow and talk about this lefty and help you to be confident that perhaps this was a good move. That's tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
All right, friends. We hope you'll come back and join us for that conversation. Until then, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Thanks for being here with us, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.
You have the sexy voice in this episode.
That's right. Hey,
like the Vera DeMilo.
That's a reference.